So the nice thing you can do with this new web app that we have here is you can copy and clone the incident. And the new incident, it tells you the new incident's name, so it's always going to be the one above the one that you had cloned, and then you can edit. And now you've got an incident that's very similar to the one you just did. And so the things you need to change include things like the GitHub ID. Oops. You'll need to change the references, because that's the links that you need to put in there. And remember, separate them with a semicolon and a space when you have multiple ones. And it's still a ransomware incident. All of this is the same. And we go on to the next one. Incident. Let's look at the year for these. Looks like it's still 2021. Okay, so they're affected. Program they had in place to stop the attack worked because it shut the system down, and that's how they knew they had of the attack. That's interesting. Did not know of a request because it shut it down, so it probably is some kind of integrity monitoring solution. And they're bringing them up one by one. Oh, interesting. It affected air conditioning. So we don't have any kind of a timeline in this one. Let's see what we have in the second one. It was September of 2021. It was employee data, it looks like. Ransomware attack occurred sometime during the last weekend of September 2021. Weekend of September 2021. September, the last weekend would have been the 25th or the 26th. So we're going to call it September 25th. Discovery, it sounds like, was fast. It was the same. We're going to go hours. We don't know how many. Containment is not the same thing as recovery. We don't really have a recovery time, which is kind of a bummer of how long it takes to recover from these things. Okay. Save and continue that. We need to change who the victim is. It is Lufkin Independent School District. I'm going to take Lufkin and let's see how many employees you have. It looks like 50. I love it when it does that for me, which means it falls in the same place. Industry is going to change. So we need NAICS code, and it's going to be in education. Elementary and secondary schools. Which is also not a government NAICS code. It is still in the US. Where are they located? Texas. Still North America. Oh, I only have to change one. Oops. And I don't have secondary victims on this one either. So again, it is malware. It is ransomware. It did not say how they got on, so we're going to leave it with the same pair of actions that we had before. And this is why this is so much faster when you're just cloning it, because you don't have to change all these things. You just have to make sure that they're still the same each time. Again, we don't know whether it was cloud or not. We do know that it was a server. We don't know that they took a copy, so we're going to say it's potentially at risk. It was not medical records, it was employee records, I believe they said. So we're going to go with personal information this time. And we're going to say this time it was employees, because they said they didn't think any staff information or any student information was affected. It's interesting, it also affected the cooling units. Maybe I'll put that in the assets, because it also affected the cooling units. So we're going to call that I'm going to call that probably server other. I don't think it's a SCADA. So we have the variety as known, but we don't have it listed. We also don't have the amount, so that's how I'm going to handle that. Save and continue to be able to save that, and we were over on attribute, weren't we? So as I said, confidentiality, personal data, employee was the victim, stored unencrypted, or they wouldn't have gotten a copy. Not partner data. We do not know that they're offering credit monitoring on this one. Software installation again, obscuration again, targeted we don't know, discovery method. This time it was not the ransomware, they said it was an internal program that noticed. So let's see, I'm not thinking it's an antivirus. I think it's probably this. That would make more sense based on what they said. The things are the same for this, I would say. We didn't have anything here or here. Event chain is also the same. And we have another JSON. You can also update it if you've finished it and then realized you needed to change it. You can just hit update. And that's the same thing when you would go here. You would hit edit. Once you select it, you would hit edit instead. So that's basically how you can be more efficient using the cloning issue ability here in our web app. And if you have a bunch of issues that you need to code, you can sort them by whatever your action is or whatever you find the easiest to sort to be able to clone them, and you can use them that way, and it can be quite useful. Hopefully this helps.